Alright guys, last video today. Interesting article in MarketWatch. Very bearish sentiment, obviously. Stan Druckenmiller is talking about the risk reward in stocks has never been worse. Warren Buffett's outdated view, one longtime fan is considering dumping his entire Berkshire stake. Bearish engulfing patterns in big tech stocks. We already saw that. Rise, caution flags. Stock market is dominated by coronavirus winners. This could spell trouble. And then obviously things get even worse. Darkest winter in modern history, coming with stronger coronavirus response. Coronavirus response. The U.S. economy is facing a newer threat. Consumers are being too responsible with their money. Okay, well, that's interesting. Trump calls out the so-called rich. I guess some guys were on CNBC, Tepper and them bashing the market. They're probably short, and he didn't like that. So interesting to see that here's David Tepper right there, and I respect David Tepper. He's a pretty smart guy. But there's another interesting article here. This is it right here. The one ETF to buy in the market. If you could buy one ETF, what would it be? And I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. So I look into it, and the ticker symbol is, let's pull it up here. It's FPT or FDN, First Trust Exchange Traded Dow Jones Internet Index ETF. So when you look at this, it's pretty impressive. I haven't drawn this line yet. Let's see what this looks like, though. So at first glance, I mean, that's like second grade technical analysis, but it does line up there pretty good. And it made a higher high. Don't get me wrong. This made a higher high. But look at that candle there. Look at that candle, man. Someone got out of this ETF. So not as that. That's some pretty heavy selling right there. But not only is that amazing, but the follow through on the selling of this ETF. And you'd think with that kind of a downward candle, the next day you close up kind of midline on the day. Not like closing at the bottom there. You're still above the 20, the 50, and the 200. I don't know what happens with this market, guys. Do these things really start to come undone, or do we just have a bifurcated market where the Dow and some of the S&P and individual stocks are just kind of all over the place, right? After we get further down and they liquidate, we kind of separate the heroes from the zeros. Is that what's going to happen? I mean, it's almost impossible. I mean, you look at the stocks. This is actually a very interesting ETF. So the top 10 holdings are Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, PayPal, Cisco, Salesforce, Alphabet A, Alphabet C, eBay, and Snap. I mean, that is a pretty strong lineup. And we break down each individual stock there. I mean, Amazon, it can't even break through its 20-day moving average. Something's got to give here, guys. I mean, we're just kind of bouncing through some Fibonacci's here. Look at Amazon today. I mean, this was a bad market today. It wasn't atrocious, but I mean, look at Amazon bouncing late, up at 23.97. I mean, or 23.79. It's and look at Netflix. Look at the Netflix daily. How long can this go on? I don't know. Oh, look at that. I should have been trading this today. And sometimes I draw these lines from a way back when, and if I'm not looking at these stocks, I wasn't looking at Netflix today. Although they were buying ahead of my line. But look at Netflix today. Low 427. Closes up 6 points. I mean, CRM for Salesforce. I didn't even look at this one yet. I don't know, not a horrible day. Look at the 1-year daily on this one. Are we just going to get money rotating out? That actually doesn't look that great. This one's pulling back a little bit more. Probably because it's work related. Salesforce, CRM. But these things look strong. I mean, PayPal. Didn't PayPal just make a new all-time high? Look at PayPal. I mean, PayPal. Holding that 140, 116 Fibonacci extension. It looks like it can go to 160. This is crazy. So something's got to give. This thing's not even... Look at the 20-day moving average on this. I mean, it's got to be... by the time rolls down, it's probably going to curl over. It's probably around 135. But I don't know, guys. Something just got sold in after hours. Um, I got to be honest with you. This is a really interesting market, and I might buy some of that FDN. Who knows, man? Maybe that's the trade of the day, right? You just wait for that to pull back and buy some FDN because I'm definitely narrowing the scope of what I own in this market. I mean, it's crazy. I tried to probe JP Morgan today. I'm never going to buy this stock again. Not only did they take my money, and I was patient, man. I was freaking patient. I'm like, man, these financials are now down literally at the pivot lateral support from where they first got their first bounce. And here's the intraday. This damn thing took my 500 shares. My stops are tight, guys. I use really tight stops. I bought it in here and got kind of bumped out. 500 shares. I don't even like to lose more than 50, 60 bucks. I like to make 300, 400 on the run. But this thing took my money. It made a little bit of a lower low. It pissed me off. And it wasn't easy, though. Look at another dip in there. And then they ran it at the close. And now in after hours, it's like 84.20. I'm just staying away from these financials. They just look sick as a dog. And I don't know when they bottom out. But when you compare those charts to the ones that we're looking at for the Dow Jones, for the FDN, the thing we just looked at, the ETF, and Netflix and PayPal, I mean, we got two different worlds here. Can that continue to go on with all the money that's in the market? I guess it could, right? I mean, you're gonna have to see a stock like Amazon break its 20-day moving average before the market starts to completely capitulate, or it's just not gonna happen. And I know all these SPY charts look horrible. You know, here's the XLF broken every trend line below every moving average, and now we're across this area here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Like we're right across this. And I said the market would look really ugly, I think, if this thing closes below, what did we say, 2060 or something last night? We're on Twitch. And man, it literally just touched there today and then bounced. So can these keep going down and breaking lower? And can they break all-time lows here? I don't know. And if they do, what happens with stuff like Amazon? You know? Do those things just stair-step down because they're not crashing? There's too many people buying them. So definitely a bifurcated market. And I don't know how long it can last, but we're definitely going to have to see the generals crack before we see the major averages completely capitulate. Otherwise, they're probably just going to drift lower. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, though. So, like I said, it's a day trading market, and we'll just narrow our scope. That FDN looks interesting. If the market does come down further, that actually looks like an interesting buy. That one I just showed.